right, everyone. It is 1 p.m. in Kitsap County. It is Wednesday, October 5th. Oh man, it's the first show of the day. And it is Layla Michelle Cameron's birthday. Shout out to the 11-year-old. I got to send that birthday shout out to her. So happy birthday, sweetie. Dad loves you. But you know what time it is. Oh, hey, how you doing there, Terry? Terry says, hello, gentlemen. Looking forward to the podcast. It is the greatest hour of your week. It is tipping points and puzzle pieces. And you know what that means? That means that we have the one and only, the often imitated, never duplicated, Mark Boatwright-Frost. How are you doing today, sir?
Fine, but I'm still looking forward to that cloning process that will allow me to be in two places at once.
Well, I will get in line right behind you when they figure that out because I need that right now for sure.
Yeah, busy people always need more of them than they have. Anyway, so today is come together and get
Oh,
your mind out of the gutter.
what? What are you talking about, Mark?
So, yeah, today's topic is about bringing people together. And
Oh,
as you see
nice.
from the picture here that we have up, frequently, and I being human like the rest of everybody else on the planet, when I see the marketing pictures up on top and the pretty people smiling at me, half of me goes, "Oh, that's pretty cool," and then the other half goes, "What a load of bullpucky."
Mm.
And it's just like, why don't we show real people, the real people doing the real work instead of somebody who got paid to be a model?
Well, that's facts. I'm with you there.
So the people on the line below are people that I know that all work toward building community. Might know the guy on the far right as you're looking at it,
You know what's
and far
interesting? I
left for that
didn't
matter.
realize that. I didn't even really pay attention to the actual people. Interesting.
So yeah, it took me a while to put this together, but these are people that we both know for the most part that work every day at making Kitsap a better place. And they all dedicate their time to making it work, part time or full time. And we need to bring more people together. And that's kind of the topic of today's subject, and actually, or the subject of today's discussion. We were running errands this morning, and I was coming back from Port Orchard, and I stopped by Cups Cafe. And it happened that there was a fire alarm at the Navy Federal Credit Union this morning, and all of the folks from the credit union were down in the cafe. And Terry, who banks with Navy Federal, knew all of them, and we ended up in a discussion. And one of the things that was brought up is that they are required to give time to nonprofits, volunteer time to nonprofits, that they have to all do. And we started talking about that, and I said, well, we don't have volunteer positions at the moment that are useful, but Gather Together, Grow Together certainly does. And I'm sure Bailey's group needs volunteers. And it suddenly occurred to me that part of the discussion today should be there are lots of businesses and companies out there and organizations that require their people to have volunteer time. And there is no real easy way to connect them. I mean, United Way's got their website connection, but it's never really been very useful to us. And maybe part of what we need to do is become connectors, not just in the neighborhood, not just with our community ambassadors, not just through our workshops and trainings, but maybe we should work with these organizations and reach out and help them find places that fill the passion of their people who want to volunteer.
So, Mark, let me ask you. Conversations are important. Can you give me some of the examples of the difficulty of connecting people through the United Way volunteer program? I'm actually meeting with the executive director tomorrow afternoon.
Just for excuse me, just for us, when we send we get a ping saying they're interested in this, and we email them back, and we never get a response.
Oh, okay.
Not one,
From
not
United
not
Way
once
or
ever.
from the
No,
volunteer?
from the volunteer.
Ah, okay.
And as we all know, connecting through email and electronic means is in no means a guarantee of connecting people. And I'm just wondering if there should be a more proactive way for people to connect. I mean, you guys, G2 does that all the time. Not with corporations and or organizations and G2 or other groups, but you connect people all the time. It's what you do. It's what your people are so great at.
Oh, well, thank you.
And so I'm just wondering if that should not become part of our plans because we need to bring people together. And part of what I said when I posted this image on Facebook is, you're either part of the solutions or you're part of the problems. Sitting there not ignoring everything isn't making things better, and things are getting worse. So we really need to kind of come together. Jessica, what if United Way instead has a list of organizations looking for volunteers? They do. It's an electronic list, and then people send out and put back that they're interested, but when we reach out to them, we don't get a response. So, yeah,
Maybe
but
they need
great intro, Jessica, and I agree. And part of this is that there are lots of organizations, and again, you hear me talk about Bo of the Fifth Column a lot. Both Marwan and I follow him. He just went to South Florida to help spend 3 days helping the people in Hurricane Ian recover and get together and get food and such. And he's had 2 great videos in the last few days about disaster relief, what works, what doesn't work, how to approach it, and the fact that wherever you are, connect to an organization and start helping. Roll up your sleeves and help. Find something that calls to you, and join. And I know time is limited for all of us. Marwan and I have beat that one to death, and then some. But if we don't come out of our shells and get engaged, it's not ever going to get better. So let's come together. One way or the other, let's figure out what we need. I mean, both Marwan and I run nonprofit organizations. And while we don't have volunteer needs at the moment, we will in the fairly near future. And actually, there's one thing I'll come back and talk about shortly. But Marwan and G2 need them all the time. So
fact.
what? Huh? Is that
fact?
Yeah,
that's a fact.
So do all of the organizations in Kitsap County, or most of the organizations in Kitsap County. And if you look at this list on United Way, there's a lot of people here that need volunteers and have things that they post for. And it doesn't matter what group you join up with. Get involved, get engaged, connect. Kitsap Strong needs people. Bailey's folks, and I'm blanking on the name of his organization. They need folks to put on events and help. Marwan and I have been working on a possible event for early next year that will bring a lot of these organizations together into one space for the community to meet. Get involved, get connected. God's broken home. Thank you very much, Jessica. I've seen your moment. Sorry. But there's all kinds of groups, and I keep.
Oh, I see. You're here. Look,
yes.
There's resilient ecosystems right here.
Yep. Habitat for Humanity do amazingly good things. Everybody tries to do good work for the county. They need people. And we're not volunteers, or if you donate, that'd be great. All of us could use donations and resources. Both G2 and Resilient Ecosystems have Patreon pages. Come out and talk to us. I mean, we do meet and greets every 2 weeks at Cups Cafe. The next one will be on the 15th at 9:30 in the morning. We play Cards Against Humanity and talk about how to make the world a better place. So get engaged. Make the world around you better. We're all busy, but if we don't come together, it's never going to get better.
So while you talk, I'm just going to fill this out because other
Okay.
people can learn from this experience. So
Okay.
I'm fully engaged. Oops.
So yeah, and again, if there's a disaster, and part of the whole resilient ecosystems gets up resiliency project piece is to bring neighborhoods together. So when there is a disaster, there's some organization already in place in the neighborhood. And besides that, it makes better neighbors. It makes for more connection, more fun. And we teach people how to connect. So I'm going to circle back around to my conversation with the Navy Federal Credit Union this morning. And I suggested that we could give volunteer hours for attending the workshop because part of the workshops is a train the trainer moment. And
Hmm.
they were very interested in that. And I'm more interested in training the trainers because a lot of what we talk about is connection, is how to connect, how to overcome cognitive dissonance, how to engage with people on a broader aspect, and how you can develop the tools to do that effectively. It's about how to develop grassroots network, how to break bread, how to come together, the things that are human commonalities as opposed to philosophical commonalities, political commonalities, religious commonalities, work commonalities.
Jessica says, I
Yeah,
wonder if
great
United
question.
Way could help lead a campaign to engage businesses and government agencies in allocating employee time to volunteering. A handout to businesses about the benefits of allowing employees to volunteer on paid time and how it benefits their organizations.
It sounds like she just lobbed one over the net to you, Marwan.
Uh-oh, I'm not a robot. How's that?
Are you sure?
Well, I'm gonna have this conversation tomorrow with Carl. So I'm glad that you brought this up today, and then I can take all the input from you and Jessica and others into that conversation. So awesome. And Jessica can help with the talking points. Well, that is fantastic.
Yeah,
One of my favorite
Jessica,
people.
I think Marwan and I are beginning to love you. Someone that can help write talking points is a wonderful thing.
Michael says most large corporations will not be willing to do that.
On the other hand, a lot of corporations donate to United Way already, and they engage their employees. And when I was working in Silicon Valley, it was a big drive in at least three of the companies I worked in to donate part of our paycheck to United Way every month.
All right. So it looks like I'm in.
Okay.
And special interest, what interest in talent and skills do you have? So here's where you would select nonprofit professional, social, technology, education, finance. How about I do nonprofit professional? Let me see how many they'll allow me to food prep, education,
Advocacy.
uh, advocacy. All right, technology. All right, so it's allowing me to select several. So I picked five there. Select your causes, basic needs. Well, that's me all day long. Employment, environment, mental wellness,
Mental wellness, housing.
community, crisis, housing, education, equality, disaster response. Okay, well, how about I stop there? That's a lot. I can almost check all of that off. And then
However,
how easy
they
is
are,
that?
Jessica, to answer that question, the United Way has put themselves in the place of being a connector. They have for decades, and they should be on the hook for this. That's kind of what they're supposed to do. That's why people give them so much money. But you're right. I haven't seen much coming from them in a long time, and almost nothing in Kitsap County. That's just me. I'm not speaking for what they're actually doing. I'm just unaware of it, and I'm just one person. But it seems to me that the big sales pitch is that they are the central connector for nonprofits. And Michael, nothing wrong with a good tax break. But it's the employees that are actually donating generally, and the companies do drives for the employees to donate. At least that's the way it always worked in Silicon Valley.
All right. So let me just jump in here really quick. So just to update everyone, what I am what I've just completed is for me to be a volunteer, not, I'm looking for volunteers. So this will track your volunteer hours, which is pretty cool. The impact value, not sure how that's determined. Need responses, event, RSVP. So if there's events coming up, we need setup or cooking or whatever, I would assume that's what that is. And then agencies fanned, the number of agencies you are a fan of. So I'm a fan of 4 agencies. And so I guess the big thing here, what could be happening is, well, let me click on helping homeless kids one at a time. So if we view the details on this, what we do, stand up for kids, so a description here. What is needed? Volunteers to pack out food, organize storage units, community outreach, assist with events. So I take it Roseco probably has a little descriptor here,
Yep.
and then you can respond or respond as a team. So maybe after someone completes this, maybe the emails are going to their junk folder, or you know,
Well,
just trying to
the,
think
we
of how they could be missing it.
we get an email from United Way saying that the volunteer has responded. We go to the site and we see the message and we respond to the volunteer, and we never hear anything back.
Okay, okay. So maybe that person is volunteering somewhere else. I don't know. So I will
Right.
definitely have that conversation tomorrow. If there's any other questions that you want me to ask the executive director of United Way, please put them in the chat, and I will collect those and pass those forward.
Yep. So today's conversation is about, getting people involved and engaged. How do we wake them up? I've been working on this for 2 decades now, and I have yet to find a way to get somebody to pay attention, or more than one or two people to pay attention. We grow, but we're growing slowly in the time that we need to be growing more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love people to throw in ideas about what would get their attention. I mean, the piece I made yesterday to connect is like, we need real people. There are real people, but they aren't going to do it for you. They're doing their own work, but we take much more. And I'm going to revert back to a conversation we had a month or two ago about how many people or how much of the gross gross income of the country goes to nonprofits is about 4%. Yet nonprofits are held up as the way we're going to fix problems. There are 4% of the people are employed by nonprofits, which means we're horribly undermanned, horribly underfunded if we're expected to fix real problems.
Only 4%.
And we won't even, only 4%. So when you look at 4% of all dollars in this country represent nonprofits, and yet nonprofits are expected to do enormous amounts of work. It's kind of a shell game. Government isn't doing it. They point to the nonprofit partners. Nonprofit partners have 4% of the income and 4% of the people to do 100% of the work.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an issue with that.
Yeah, I think the other difficult thing too is I was having a conversation. I think Jules okay with me sharing this, but as she embarked creating her nonprofit for the Black Student Union, right, to apply for grants and contracts, they want you to see, a balance sheet of, up to $250,000. It's like we're just starting off. We
Yeah.
don't have that, right? So then you don't even have access to the funding to do the work that you want to do. So
Which
a
means that
lot of
only the large nonprofits are getting funded because of the requirements. Yeah, a lot of the requirements. I've competed for 7 grants in the last 10 years that were competitive grants for nonprofits to do unique and creative work in the community to help develop community resilience, economic survival, and whatever. And several of them had peer reviews, means I can go look at the other people who have applied and go through and grade them and make comments on it. And I did that to the max every chance I got. And here's what I discovered, that there were a lot of incredible groups doing great work that are affecting their direct communities in a very positive way. But they were never the ones funded.
Mm.
The ones who got funded are the ones that are large and look like everybody else. Then you go back to the panel of judges, and they're middle management in large companies that have no sense of what it looks like in the real world, trying to get things done. So they choose things that look like them, and that's how the funding is for competitive funding is challenged a lot of times. Absolutely, passion is the best answer I can give you, Jessica. It's a matter of what you feel is calling to you to do the work. I mean, I do this work 24/7. I'm never not on. I'm never not working. Ask Terry; she hates it. Um,
Make sure you read the comments so our
yeah.
listeners who aren't watching.
Okay,
Uh,
so go ahead, Marwan. You have a better voice for it than I do.
so first, Michael says, it probably the pessimist in me, but if those companies donate money, it's due to the tax break it gets them. Then Jessica says it can be a challenge to know where the volunteer, and sometimes it is also intimidating that there is so much need. How do people choose where to volunteer? Some organizations uh, have better volunteer programs. They have better training, tracking, engagement, etc. And that is definitely a true
Yep,
story. Although we do reach out, a lot, there isn't a lot in the way of marketing materials. Now we do have a pretty good system with folks that need to do community service hours, and so we have a pretty good pipeline there where we track their hours and things like that. And we do have a good system for folks that are coming in to build soft skills and hard skills that they don't have, so that they can fill some of their gaps in employment. But we don't really have like, hey, if you go to our website, you're going to see this, and complete this and look at all these different things you can do. And this is what it's going to be if you're doing this. You're going to be a food prepper. You're going to be a driver. You're going to be a technological assistant. You're going to help with your taxes. Uh, Hit the horn. We just were awarded a grant for helping folks with their taxes. So stay tuned for that. That will be rolling out here in a little bit. Anyway, so we don't have anything that is set that way, but we do need a ton of help. And when you're a small organization, we're a working board, so we don't have the luxury of, we just get to sit and say, hey, yeah, this looks good. All you guys down there doing the work. It's like, no, no, we're doing the work, and so it's difficult to try to build those things in, and trying to find one. So here's what I see, right? Let me just kind of go all the way back. Pre-COVID, we were doing concessions, right? And we would take up to 4 vanfuls, like up to 30 people, and do the Seahawks games or the Sounders or the Rolling Stones or the concerts and things like that. And we loved doing it. It was great, hard work, but it was awesome. COVID decimated that. Now we're not even doing that right now because we don't have the numbers to do that. And so that is a huge challenge on how do you rebuild that when so many people are in survival mode, right? So now it's like, hey, I want to give back, I want to do these things, but man, I'm barely hanging on. I'm trying to tread water and I'm losing ground, and I just don't have it to give. It's kind of that the conundrum that you and I, constantly um,
talk about.
try to solve. Yeah.
Well, and for our organization, our work is generational, and a lot of our stuff is messaging. Though when Marwan and I get together for block parties, I flip dogs, flip burgers, prep food, get all of it right there. Um, but for resilient ecosystems, really the Kitsap Resiliency Project is the volunteer program. And until today, I hadn't thought about how to put out volunteer hours to do the work with the Kitsap Resiliency Project. We're just trying to get people to connect their neighborhoods and start talking to each other, and are doing our work to get there. But we're going to stay tuned for our outreach into volunteer hours on that. Um, but it's all of our work is really hard. I mean, it's creative. You have to take initiative. I don't have a task to give you. I
I
have
do.
a yeah, but Marwan on the other hand has lots of tasks to give. For us, it's like, how good are you at creating graphics? How good are you at? I mean, there are sometimes that we can have you go out and do flyers, but after post COVID, where do you put flyers up that people are going to see them? I mean, that's a challenge for us every time. We printed flyers for the last meet and greet, and I only printed 10 or 11 of them because that's all I could think of places to put them in that would be
Oh,
relevant.
do you want to put some flyers? I've got some places for you to put some flyers.
Okay, cool. I'll be happy to print a bunch of flyers up and put them up if we can get people aware, door to
Yeah, for
door.
sure. So Jessica says, could United Way do a community survey about volunteerism? Ooh, I love that. What are the
Yeah.
barriers to volunteering? How do people want to learn about volunteer opportunities? What could community organizations do to increase volunteerism? One answer that I have to that, Jessica, is when folks do come in and we have that conversation, it's important for us to articulate some of the intangible benefits that someone may get. So if it's they say they're driving for us. Well, a lot of folks that drive don't actually have their own personal vehicle or, can't really afford the gas or it doesn't run very well. And so it's like, hey, this makes you mobile. This allows you to run errands and do things that you need to do and you don't have to worry about your gas, you don't have to worry about the wear and tear, and so it allows them to really get some things done. For other people, an intangible is, a lot of folks are experiencing loneliness and isolation, and they need to build community, hence gather together, grow together. And
Hmm.
so they don't see that as something that they really need, but folks that kind of get tied in with us get that sense of community, and then you see it at the barbecues and the bar, the parties and all the other things that we do. So, yeah, I would say organizations should definitely look at those intangible benefits that someone may receive because it's important for you to be able to articulate that to them so that they can see it because otherwise they may
Right.
not see that.
And I'll add to that, since I drive for G2 on occasion, you get to bring some happiness into other people's lives. I can't tell you how many times that I have conversations with people I'm driving who are people who have challenges, and just trying to point out to them that things are, there are people working together to try and make this better. And, our conversations with them help make people feel better, help give them some hope. And that can't be understated.
No, and
Okay, so
selfishly, that has a benefit to you, right? So
yeah, it
while you're
does.
making other people happy, it feeds your own soul, which is
It does.
powerful.
Well, isn't it
Jessica
isn't it
says,
supposed to be a win-win all the way anyhow? Isn't that what people working together is supposed to do? Everybody gets something out of it?
Typically, it'd be great if it always worked that way, but sometimes you just have to do things for others and not have any expectation for, to get anything back.
Well, actually, the expectations prevent you from getting things back. It's just the wonderful surprise when it happens.
True, right? That's why they say you should never loan money, just give it away.
Yeah.
Um, Jessica says, yes, I have to juggle work and family. I know I need volunteer opportunities that fit my schedule. Some volunteers may need help with childcare if they can volunteer, right? So we try to create spaces like for our summer food program for the kids to help out or create a space for them to do things while
Hmm.
they're, in proximity, to their parents. Because if you say, hey, we could really use you, but can't bring your kids, it makes it tough. So whenever we can do that, we try to do that and then we do kids activities to make them a part of the organization also, or they can be encouraged to have their children volunteer with them. Yep, absolutely, love it.
Yep.
Another
And
one of those
actually,
important things.
one of the things, that, Jessica, if you happen to know people, is Gather Together and Resilient Ecosystems could use somebody who is willing to read through grants and point grants to us that actually could fit into what we need. Because that is a hard job that takes a lot more time than Marwan and I have.
Well, in regards to G2, we actually have grant writers. So if you find one that seems like it would be a good fit, just send it to us, and we'll send it
Yeah.
to the person it needs to go to.
Yep. But finding them is the thing that needs to
Yeah,
happen.
searching for them is tedious for sure. And then I was just gonna say, I think here in the next couple weeks we'll probably do a pumpkin decorating party for kids. So stay tuned for that announcement. We'll probably do that over at New Horizon Ministries.
And again,
Go ahead.
on the 15th and every other week after that, we will be doing Cards Against Humanity and discussion about how to make life better at the Cups Cafe on 4th and Pacific at 9:30 in the morning.
All right.
And we had a
Man,
hysterical game last week.
did you really?
Yeah, Michael and Martitha were there. Martitha had never played before,
Oh
and
man.
and for those of you who go, oh my God, Cards Against Humanity is about awful things. And I said, well, the fact is being able to take it lightly and laugh. But if you go to their website, you realize how many good things they do with the profit.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Terry.
And they do amazing things with the money from and the profits from their sales of the games. So yeah, and they are hysterical. And you, as long as you don't take it seriously and you realize that it's just for fun, it can be really funny and kind of
Yes.
dirty. It is definitely not a children's game.
May not be an adult game either. Uh, I've played it once. That's yeah, it's pretty raunchy.
Can be.
Guess it depends on who's in the room with you, right? So
It depends on who's in the room and which expansion sets you're using. Some are way raunchier than others.
wow.
They're all pretty there, but there's some that can go right into it. I think there's an expansion set called Weed. How appropriate for
Oh
Washington
really?
State. Yep. So anyway, so I guess what we're trying to do in this show is get people to think about committing now. And I understand the numbers. 46% of the country is one paycheck away from homelessness, and we've talked about that lots and lots and lots. And it's hard, but something funny? Those are the people that volunteer the most.
Hmm.
That's 151 million people, plus give or take. And they're trying to survive, but they're wanting to give. When I was working with the state agency, working with folks who had challenges, um, virtually everyone I worked with wanted to help others. That was
Mm-hmm.
almost universal. I found nobody who said, I don't want to help anybody else. I just want to get my own. Almost universally, the people with the biggest challenges want to help others because they understand we need to come together. See how I fit that in there? We need to work together and we need to find human commonality and we need to spend our time finding ways to lift everybody. Because wasn't it Kennedy who said, a rising tide lifts all boats? We need to help find a way to rise that tide, and we can only do that together. No one is going to do it for you. I don't know how many times I can say that because people look at the list of the pictures of the people on the bottom here, and they think, well, they're already doing it. What do I need to do? You need to come and join because it's together we'll be able to do a better job for everybody. Homelessness is a fixable challenge, but we have to look at long-term solutions to it, and we have to look at the long-term causes to it. And a lot of these people are doing that. But we need help. We need people. And a lot of times, just coming and joining the organizations and working with the organizations, you'll bring a point of view that we haven't had. And I've said this almost every show. Bring your piece to the puzzle. If it's to us, that's fine. If it's to anyone else, that's fine. The point is, find something that you have a passion for and connect. Because you will bring something more than just your time.
I'm just listening to you speak, and one of the things that might be a great addition for the United Way site is to say specifically what you'd like to do, right? So I got to pick my interest, but I didn't get to say exactly what knowledge, skills, and abilities I wanted to bring to bear, right? So that might be a good thing to put in.
Yeah, and then human connectivity. I mean, electronic. I had this conversation this morning, and I've had it a lot lately. You know, um, when you have to deal with somebody in one of the corporations and even one of the smaller businesses, you end up in electronic help hell. You call and you end up in these automated phone systems, and then you end up talking to a computer and you end up talking to somebody in another country, and that don't none of them can really help you deal with what you need to have dealt with. And we move farther and farther away from any human interaction for the efficiency of AI, or of what I call virtual help.
Mm.
And in some ways, the United Way site, and this is no way denigrating United Way or their efforts, but it's a lot of electronic movement as opposed to connection. To answer Jessica's question, how do you find out? You really, and this is incumbent on the people, but it's also incumbent on us to put the word out to say, come talk to us, and let's see if we're a match. Because an email or whatever I can personally write or Marwan can personally write is only going to give a percentage of what really needs to be done, or what it's really about, or what the outcome is expected to be. I mean, I ask people to do grant research, but it's a hard work, and unless they know what the outcome is, and what we're working toward, really, it's a hard sell. And I can see why people don't respond, and that's mostly what we're asking people to do. And we're revising that to a certain degree. Again, the train the trainer sessions, and actually giving them a workshop experience and giving them skills to be able to have communication. That's a whole different level. Um, but it's really got to come down to human communication and finding out what your passion is, and finding out what the organization really does. And don't be afraid to ask the next question. What do you really do? How is this going to affect the future? How is what you're doing and what you're asking me to do going to affect a positive outcome? I know
You
Marwan
know,
and I can answer those questions. I assume that most other nonprofits can too.
well, I think what you're saying that really resonates with me is by having that conversation. Sometimes someone will come through the door. So I'll give an example, right? Folks will come through and it's like, all right, we have an immediate need, right? The vans need to be detailed, right? Because we want to keep them as clean and as safe as possible as they're transporting people. And so someone will come in, and if that's top of mind, because that's what we need, like right now, but that person has another skill set or they want to do something else, seeing that, could be a turnoff to them. So having that conversation and talking about what it is they do is like, oh, hey, you know what? No, I don't like detailing vans. I don't like driving, or I don't have a license, but I really do like the food prep. Oh, you actually do stuff with kids? Well, I'd love to get in and help out whenever you have kids around. I'd love to do that. And here's my hours and things of that nature. You never know.
Yep.
We're even kind of playing around with switching our food delivery day from Thursday to a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Mondays might be a little tough just because it's Monday, but we may be able to get more help if we switch off of Thursdays. So that would be, advantageous for us to shift the day if that means that we're going to get many hands to make the work light.
Or if you get more resources, you could be doing it 2 days a week.
Yes, if we got more resources, but I do think we just got access to a commercial kitchen. So, hey.
Awesome. 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 So, yeah, the more resources for G2, just remember they have a Patreon page, and Marwan will start putting that Patreon link up, and you can give resources to them so they can feed more people. So there's the end result of what the work that they do. If you come in and help with their kitchens and do food prep, they can feed more people. If you donate, they can feed more people.
Those are all facts.
So
And
yeah,
I'm a Patreon.
huh?
I'm horrible at putting up, hey, here's the Cash App. Here's the what's the other one? PayPal and
Yep.
Venmo. We have all of them. I'm just horrible at
So
I'm not good at self promotion.
yeah, so maybe Marwan and I can actually manage to put up the Patreon for Resilient Ecosystems and the Patreon for Grow Together, Grow Together, and you guys can choose if you want to support either one or both of us. So anyway, the point is that there are opportunities, and I think that it behooves us, Marwan and I, and other people who run nonprofits, to be more forthcoming with the end result is for the work that you do. And I think that's missing in the apps. Support both. Yes, there you. Thank you, Sean. Sean shouts out with the support both of us.
Yep, I like
And
it.
yeah, and we work hard to make a better world here. We do. Um, Marwan and I probably put in close to the same amount of hours, sometimes for each other's organizations, because Marwan's on our board of directors, and I work for G2 a couple 3 days a week. So we understand the need and the benefits for both of what we do, which are very different things, but they're very cross supportive. So save me, Marwan. I'm running out of words.
Oh, I was looking. I'm trying to find something to pull up, but excuse me. If you would like me to save you, I will absolutely do that. I can do that. So, what I'd like everyone to do, since I am going to be speaking with the executive director from the United Way tomorrow, if you could please just type a short sentence in the chat on what you would like me to ask them using your voice. This is part of volunteerism, right? Is, giving your word and giving your opinion because it helps. Everything helps. That is your puzzle piece. Um, a lot of times we think volunteering or helping needs to be this big grand thing, and it doesn't.
No,
Tonight is city council, so advocating for the things that you think are important is a really good way to start volunteering. Right, you're volunteering your voice. You're elevating someone else's needs to city council and to the mayor in hopes that they're going to listen to it. It's budget season right now and take that under advisement. And if they don't do it this year, then next year, right? And so if you've attended a city council meeting, you'll see it. One person will give their 3 minutes, and someone behind them or a little bit after them will say, hey, I came on to talk about this, and then they'll use some of their time to bolster another point from before, right? I've actually done that myself in the last city council meeting. So there's, it doesn't have to be these big, huge expenditures of time and energy. That's all well and good, but something that small, like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna type in the chat and do that. I'm gonna subscribe. I'm gonna share out the podcast. There's so many different things that you can do. So, all of it all matters.
which reminds me, please like and share this podcast. And we're trying to raise awareness throughout the community, and this is one of the ways to do it. Sean, yes, they do. Sean M. wrote, does the United Way have meeting rooms available for grassroots groups? Yes, I actually ran the first workshop series a couple of years ago in their rooms, but COVID changed the rules, and I don't know what they are currently. So maybe Marwan can find out if those rooms are available again, because I know during COVID they closed them up.
They are available. I was in a meeting recently, and one of the board members was talking about the space being open and available. So
Okay.
it's just right there around the corner from G2. I'd say go in and just have a conversation. But yes, and I think they're underutilized. So yeah, if you're looking for a spot downtown, that's the spot.
Yep, and it's a very nice space, and they have a wonderful screen to project information on. So
And it's not just that space. They have a second floor also.
I did
That's
not
what I'm
know that.
saying. Yes, yes.
Okay,
It's very surprising. Like, oh, okay. Hey.
cool. When will United Way do another day of caring? And I think these are questions for you for tomorrow, Marwan.
Oh, perfect.
Could they
Thank you.
could they do multiple days of caring this year, a year? Have they ever done a quality improvement analysis process on their online volunteer opportunity database? Could United Way, in partnership with other local community foundations, help provide training on volunteer engagement for nonprofits? Could United Way conduct a volunteerism promotion campaign, including with businesses?
Wow, I
Good
love it.
questions, all.
I love it. All right. Well, you
And
know what?
could United one more is could United Way promote their volunteer opportunity database? Maybe at the library there should be a promotion materials next to the computers. Good plan. No, that's fine. And actually spurred um, a question for Marwan to ask tomorrow from me, and I'm not going to type it in, but we'll talk about it as we go forward. But we are planning or working toward planning a wow, I'm just going to blank completely here. I'm having a lot of senior moments, folks, so please forgive me. It's been a long day. But the community fest that we've been talking about, that Marwan and I have been working on for a while, we're having meetings this month about that. If we are successful, we will have a large space that we want to bring all of the organizations we can find, churches, profits, government agencies, and people doing the work together into one space and open it up for the community so that they can meet the people who provide eviction relief, rental assistance, housing, healthcare, and all of the various community support mechanisms that we have. We also are planning to have a roundtable in the middle of the room for people to watch that will have us talking to each other and connecting with each other, and possibly the outcome of some synergy between groups so that we can actually be bigger than we are by working together. I would like to know if United Way can. So here's the question, finally, Marwan. I would like to know if United Way can help facilitate those groups coming together in this facility, in this festival.
Okay.
Because if you and I are doing it, it's going to be a lot more challenging than if somebody who's already connected to a lot of them helps us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
And maybe Kitsap Community Foundation, though I don't know where. Since Cole left, I haven't heard much about them, so I don't know what they're doing at the moment.
They are still doing their thing. Absolutely. All right. So what I'm going to do is, as you guys continue to put your questions in there. Sorry, I ask a lot of questions. No, no, questions. The more, the better, for sure. And
Always ask the
uh,
questions.
well, what's great too is by putting the questions out there, that makes other people's minds get to thinking and saying, "Oh, okay. Well, what about this and what about that?" Right? So that it's very beneficial. Look at everyone in their volunteer mode today. I love it. You all get the horn. All right. So what we
That
do need to
sounded
talk
really
about
wrong.
is this fourth Wednesday coming up. Our breakfast is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so this is going to be our networking workshop breakfast on October 26th, and it's going to be 4 hours now. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the same place in New Horizon Ministries at 4040 Wheaton Way, Suite 203. And really, what Mark has been talking about all day is really the intent on this particular meeting. And so we are directing our conversation and our solutions toward ML King and trying to find out how we can actually provide some of the resources that they need. Obviously, the best thing would be housing, right? But if we can't get that, then there's bathrooms and toiletries and showers and laundry and on and on and on. So how can we get these things as fall and winter are upon us? We know that the city does have a surplus budget this year. We know that the county may be able to pilot some programming, and we know that there are more and more volunteers that are coming together and saying, "Hey, we're willing to give some of our time and energy and effort to solving this issue and rolling up our sleeves." And what's been different about trying to do it this way is, one, we are centering those with lived experience, those that are unhoused. Right, many times if you sit in meetings, it's organizers and leaders that are in the room talking about solving a problem for people that aren't in the room, so they're going to be in the room, and then also trying to get just everyone together. So you'll have builders and maybe city council, and the mayor may be in a meeting with the Bremerton Housing Authority, or you have the Bremerton Housing Authority with Northwest Hospitality and G2 and a few other folks in the room. But we're really trying to get everyone in the room and really come up with solutions. And this isn't a pointing fingers on what you should have done or what you could have done better. And if you really cared about these people, you would do this. That's not what this is. This is, here's the situation. What can we do? What haven't we thought of? What things have been tried in the past and that didn't work? And what would make them work, right? For example, porta potties were used in certain places, but they were burnt down, or there were some issues with, needles being put into the toilet. Well, one of those solutions would be to have a needle receptacle in the bathroom, right? Because when those things are available, people tend to actually use them. So, how do you get past, folks maybe locking themselves into the bathroom and things like that? So, what does that solution look like to get porta potties downtown, or bathroom access, or to work with local businesses that are down there to provide those services? I don't know what the answers are, but we're only going to find those answers out and try something based on everyone coming together and having that discussion. So that's what this one is about. And this one is coming up this October 19th. And we want you to respond by October 19th, and just email us at g2g2housing@gmail.com and RSVP. I know Jessica will be there, Mark will be there, Terry will be there. I believe Sean will be there. Also, I believe Michael will be there. So all these folks that are here in the chat, that are typing in the chat, are going to be here. And so we have cast a wide net. And I will send you the email if you haven't received it, so that you have it. And if there are some people that you believe can be a part of the solution and help in that process, tell them to come on down. And so G2 is going to feed you. And so we're really trying to build on all the things that we've been doing over the past year. This is what the community breakfast is about. This is what the neighborhood barbecues is about, with resilient ecosystems and G2 and New Horizon, and building those relationships in that community, and meeting new people and finding ways to work together. So that's what it is. You want to comment on that, Mark?
Absolutely. And the more people that come together to fix it, the more ideas we'll have. But understand it's a process. I mean, this is a first step in a process to address that, but it also shows community will to do it. And in order to get anything through a political situation, community will is the number one ingredient in making that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I just put something in the private chat, Marwan, that came through on the affordable housing site today,
Okay.
and I found it very appropriate for what we're talking about right here. It's the European Union's and the EU's. The EU's look at what is a basic human right, and
You
I had
want
to
me to
do
put
it in
that?
two parts because I had to do it in two pieces because of the limitation of the chat.
Okay, hold on here.
Yes, absolutely, Jessica. Will notes be taken for the community breakfast discussion? Absolutely. And it will be filmed, so there will be a video recording of it.
Yes, we probably won't be live, but it will be through Zoom for those that can't physically attend. We have some folks that can't navigate the stairs, unfortunately, and the elevator is out. And then we have folks that can't commit to 4 hours, right? For various reasons. And so we want to make sure they can either, contribute in the breakout groups. So we'll have, different computers. So we have like 3 rooms that we're going to be operating out of on that day. So for those of you that have ever come to the pancake breakfast, normally we're in the sanctuary area where we eat, and then the other room is where we make the meals. But where the breakout rooms are going to span all 3 rooms, so people can spread out and think and hear, and not um, sometimes the noise just gets to be a little too much to think, and then we'll come back together at the end. But that will also allow us to have folks, participate who can't physically be there, right? So we're trying to be as inclusive as possible. And then just because the organization should bring a list of their volunteer opportunities to that meeting. Yes, I love that. I love that. So I might have to send out another email there, which I will. I'll send out a reminder. So if I send out a reminder, Jessica, and that's not on there, will you gently prod me and just say, hey, don't forget to put that out there? All right. You still with me there, Mark?
I am. I'm just wanted to waiting to get that so we could talk about what it is. United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights Act 25, Section 1. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family, including social services and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond his control. His being general statement as opposed to gender statement. Oh, wait, and I missed a section in the middle there. I'm going to go to the original and read it because it's not broken up quite as much. 1 second. Of course, I'm so efficient that I moved away from it. Okay. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family, including food, clothing, housing, medical care, and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond their control. If you add education to this, you have what is essentially a basis for humanity to grow and thrive. It is also worthy to note that we are the only industrialized nation in the world that does not have universal health care. So,
And I know Sean is doing some work on changing healthcare in our state.
yeah. And there are also, as an announcement, there's going to be a discussion, a series of discussions at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship starting this Friday that Marwan is facilitating. And the first, and part of that is, I think the third one is going to be Medicare for All, which is a step toward universal health care.
How do you know all that, Mark?
I have the flyer.
All
And it's
right.
in my calendar. You think I don't pay attention?
No, it's just like I'm like I'm trying to scramble to find it, and I'm like, how does he just rattling off the top of his head? Like, how does he know that? I'm impressed.
Yeah. So, and actually, if you want me to, I can tell you what each one of them is. Starting on Friday, which is a community dialogue on Medicare privatization. The next one is the following month, and that is these are set up to be once a month on the first Friday, and that one is on Medicare for All. So I was wrong; it's the second one, not the third one. December's is social housing, and that's as far out as I'm going to go right now.
I can bring up the flyer now.
Buy you some time.
Right. Yeah, thank you. I need all the time I can get sometimes.
So January 6th is
yeah.
sustainable community housing. February 3rd is what is socialism got to do with it? Got to do with housing and Medicare. Sorry, Tina Turner got into my head. What socialism got to do with it as opposed to what's love got to do with it? And Marwan is facilitating these conversations. And I will be at some of them. I will probably be at the first one for certain.
Yeah, so again, that is this Friday at the Kitsap Unitarian Church at 4418 Perry Avenue, North in Bremerton, Washington. 6 p.m. Medicare privatization is the first one up. There's snacks. Ooh, I like that. And it's free. Free 99, our favorite price. And if you can't attend in person, although it's always better to spend time with folks, it will be aired. So again, subscribe to the Conduit so you don't miss out.
Okay, and I just put another flyer in there for you to pop up, Marwan.
All right.
If you would be so kind.
Oh, I'm a kind guy. Oops. All right.
and we're running late, so I'm just trying to jam that in at the last minute.
No worries. Story of my life. All right. So you can see here. Go ahead and talk about that.
Okay, so on the 15th of this month at 11:30 at the Bremerton branch of the Kitsap Regional Library, we are going to be starting a new series of workshops. This is a grassroots humanity workshop series. Trying to name the workshops is one of the biggest things that we have trouble with because it's broad and reaching. What we're going to talk about is how we got here. We're going to talk about cognitive dissonance. We're going to talk about neighborhoods and community, how to build a grassroots network, how to break bread, and how to be better humans. So essentially, we're going to be talking about the jigsaw puzzle. But when I say we're going to be talking about the jigsaw puzzle, people don't know what I'm talking about. So please come attend the workshops. They are interactive. These are not this is not a lecture series. This is going to be people working with each other to find ways to work with their neighbors and with the community and to build community.
Nice.
And in the process, make changes to that we desperately need to make changes to.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, man. This was a super fast hour, but it was chock full of information. Man, what a lot of fun. I will make sure that we get our Patreon up so that you can see that. So if you would like to donate, you can do that. I think Mark says for a cup of coffee,
A cup of coffee a week.
Yep, you can change the world, right? And so you can set it up for it to auto debit off of your card. And you can set it and forget it. So super easy. But anyway, man, we thank you for joining us today. This is 50 Points and Puzzle Pieces. Your host is Mark Boatwright-Frost of Resilient Ecosystems, and of course myself, Mr. Cameron. I will see you in 57 minutes for our housing conversation. Today, no KCR, but we do have Bremerton Housing Authority. They will be here, and it will be Lori and Katie. So you want to stay tuned for that because something new has been happening with BHA, and it's pretty fantastic. And then tonight at 5:30, we have our city council meeting, and we do need you to make your open comment when it comes available. I will not be able to make it tonight because I will be celebrating an 11-year-old's birthday today. So I will post it and it will be broadcasting, but I won't be able to make my public comment tonight. So please make it so that voices are heard. Final thought there, Mark?
Yeah, just want to say make sure that Layla knows that I'm wishing her a happy birthday.
I absolutely will do that. All right. Oh, thank you, Jessica. I will pass that on to her. She was super excited today. Yeah, she's pumped. She's 11. You know she's excited. All right, everyone. For Mark, I am Marwan. This is Tipping Points and Puzzle Pieces. This is the Conduit Network.